Well, hello again, everyone. Today we're going to talk about minor scales. If you look up on the screen here, you see a scale with no accidentals, so ostensibly in the key of C major, but instead of starting on C, you'll notice we're starting on A. Let's listen to what that sounds like. Certainly sounds different than a major scale. If we look at the makeup of the intervals, A to B is how far? Sorry, it's a whole step. B to C is how far? A half step. So already we're different. C to D, whole step. D to E, whole step. E to F, there's our half step. F to G, whole step. G to A, whole step. So the intervallic makeup here is different. The sound is different. It's right around here we have a whole, half, whole instead of whole, whole, half. And notice that we end with a whole step instead of a half step like we did earlier. But you also notice that if you rotate this just a little bit, so we start on C, C, D, E, F, G, A, B, C, we start whole, whole, half, whole, 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 half. So the natural minor scale, and that's what this is the natural minor scale, is the same idea as the major scale, just rotated to start on the sixth scale degree. There are a couple different schools of thought as to what this should be in terms of solfege. Some say that because we start Do as tonic, and this would be the tonic in the natural minor, that this should be Do with chromatic alterations. So Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La, Te, Do. Others would say that what we're dealing with here is a rotation of the major scale, so we should start on La. It's called a La bass minor. La, Ti, Do, Re, Mi, Fa, Sol, La. Here at UMM we use La-based minor, but I know the textbook likes to make a lot of reference to Do-based minor. I'm sure we will explore that in greater detail later. You'll notice also this has the same key signature as C major. And that relationship is called the relative major or relative minor. C major is the relative major to A minor. A minor is the relative minor to C major. Now, if we go through the same process, let me copy this so it's easily transferable here. When we start on the fifth scale degree of A, which is E, so if I start on E, and then I come up with the same system here, more or less aligned, it's pretty close. We need a whole step above E, which is F sharp. Half step above F sharp is G. Whole step above G is A. Whole step above A is B. Half step above B is C. Whole step above D, E. So we've transposed it. Now notice also to get a whole step here, I had to put a sharp in. What sharp did I put in? That's right. I put in F sharp, which is the same sharp I put in when I went from C major to G major. There's that fifth relationship at work there. So another way this could be shown, oops, not that one. Where's my transpose? Here. I transpose this, key change, there it is. Finale 2011, I use 2012 at home, and sometimes I lose track of where things are. But if we look at this, let's transpose this major. We're going to go in the minor keys here. So I use E minor, hold notes the same pitches, and then boom, we can go from there. Now, if I start on B minor, I'll bet you'll find that this happens, F sharp minor, and so forth and so on. It uses this intervallic construction, whole, half, whole, whole, half, whole, whole. Every major key has a relative minor key. And so our old friend the circle of fifths now looks like this. The minor keys are in lowercase. And we saw it C major and A minor were related. They have the same key signature. G major and E minor were related. They have the same key signature. And then D and B, A and F sharp, E and C sharp, etc. To find a relative minor, go up to the sixth scale degree of the relative major, and that's your tonic of your relative minor. If you're in a minor key and you want to find the relative major, go up to the third scale degree of the minor, and that will be your relative major. Case in point, if we're in the key of, let's say E flat major. What is the relative minor to E flat major? Well, E flat is the first scale degree, F, G, A flat, B flat, C is a sixth scale degree, and sure enough, there's a relationship. Similar relationship if I'm in the key of G sharp minor and I want to find its relative major, I go up a step and a half. So a whole step above G sharp is A sharp, and a half step above A sharp is B to its third degree, so the relative major of G sharp minor is B major. So if we look then at the minor scale, I'll go ahead and introduce the other two types now, just very quickly here. There are times that we want to raise the leading tone, like so there. And of course, then we don't have a whole step anymore. We have a half step here, and then we have, the half step is here, and F to G sharp is our step and a half. Now that's a very odd sound. La, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, si, la. We have to sharp it so sol becomes si, la. Do, la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, si, la. Fa, si, la. That's a little bit different. So sometimes, whenever we're trying to get up to this top note here, and when this happens, when we raise the leading tone, but we keep the sixth scale degree intact, we call this the harmonic minor scale. And it looks something like this. I'm going to clear out the E here just because I don't need it anymore. Sometimes we want to raise the F sharp all the way up. I'm going to do a transposition here just to get that out of the way because I'm going to need this space. So la, ti, do, re, mi, fa, si, la is awkward melodically. However, if I do this, la, ti, do, fa, mi, fi, si, la. Listen to that. Do you hear how the raised 6th and 7th scale degrees here push you to the upper tonic? When that happens, we call that the melodic minor scale. But when we're descending, we don't want to have the raised 6th and 7th. We want to push down. So when we're descending, we lower it, and instead, the intervallic makeup, again, descending, looks like this. Notice that the half steps and such are in a different order. And then ascending, that step and a half, and half step then becomes that. So, when you listen to the melodic minor scale, it has a different form ascending and a different form descending. Let's listen to those. And even though we have a bar line here, I'm going to go ahead and put the courtesy accidental on the 6th and 7th scale degree, so you really see how it's different on the way up and the way down. We'll investigate this more in class further, and we'll play around with things. I thought I changed that. Apparently, when you hit the mouse just right, it does some strange things to you, and that's okay. I'm used to technology doing strange things to me. Notice also that we have the 4 whole steps in a row. We will experiment more with the different types of minor scales and the relationship to the major scales, and we'll start bringing that into the sight singing as well. So I hope you enjoyed this little excursion into the minor side of things, and if you have any questions, be sure to email me or stop by the office or ask them in class. Thanks, and have a great day.